Insurance has been one of the most traditional and regulated industries in India. The insurance penetration in this country is as low as 4%, while the global average stands at 6% plus. However, much has changed in the last 2 decades, with both companies, consumers, and regulators all opening up, and the entire value chain is adopting tech. And one of the companies that is spearheading this digitization and change is Turtlemint. Dhiren is here to tell us what it took to successfully disrupt a highly traditional, regulated, and people-driven industry with technology at the forefront.
Nobody wakes up thinking that they want to buy insurance today. And hence, these financial advisors play a critical role in the distribution of insurance. They actually create the need in the minds of the consumer. And that's where the consumer sort of understands that there is a need to buy insurance, and then the decision making is done through the expertise of that financial advisor. When we started, there were several, like you mentioned, insurtech companies who were focused on the B2C business model, and they were focused on acquiring consumers directly. We saw it differently, and our thinking came from first this point that insurance is a complex product. Consumers find it difficult to make a decision themselves, and hence they rely on an expert. And the way the distribution happened in India at that time and even today is that 95% of the insurance is purchased through an in-person consultancy. It is either through a financial advisor, it could be your friends, family, some network, somebody who you believe is an expert in the insurance product, and you rely on them for that advice. The other big channel is banks. There is something called bank assurance through which insurance gets distributed. So essentially, insurance is a consultancy-based product. When we started off, there was hardly any effort towards digitizing this, and we saw that this was a huge gap that existed. We also saw that the impact that we could create by digitizing this side of the distribution could be significant, and that became our starting on this path of building a platform for insurance advisors or distributors.
What's interesting to me is that you took a very community-driven approach, and now you have 100,000 plus advisors selling insurance on your platform every month. Given how spread out this community is present across lengths and breadths of India, what would be interesting to learn is that how did you go about iterating on this customer base, which is the insurance advisor? How did you go about recruiting them initially? What were the secret sauces behind nurturing this community?
We had only first one user for a few months at that time, and we saw him sort of scale very quickly on the platform. So that became our starting point. Slowly, as we started expanding, we had to solve for trust, because when we tried to expand and we would go to this new cities, they had not heard about Turtlemint. So we had some initiatives where we would also do offline engagement with them, but at the same time the journey would be fully digitized. And we started expanding to different cities via our promotion on the digital side, but at the same time also engaging with the community in an offline manner. Quickly, there was a sort of a word of mouth kind of an impact that we started seeing, and we started seeing a lot of organic references that came to us, and we got people to start working with us. The platform on day one obviously was like a minimum viable kind of a platform, but over the period of time, we've solved for scaling of recruitment. As we've solved for that, we've started seeing people using the platform across the entire length and breadth of the country. So to summarize, what I would say is, I think you need to find one believer who starts using the platform, iterating and improving the offering that you have. Once you've got say a solution that is working well for a small set of users, you then start sort of slowly expanding within his community, and then you start using marketing as a channel to go to other locations, other cities, and other parts of the community to expand your platform. And that's how we started seeing the platform scale up very, very rapidly, which is what has happened in the last 3.5 years.
As you started to take this platform to many other agents, what were the typical barriers of adoption that you had to overcome from the agent community?
India is a low trust economy. When you go to the small cities and towns, which is where large part of our users come, trust becomes a first challenge. Why would they believe in a company that they've never heard of and build a long-term relationship with that company? And in our case, we were essentially competing with large brands that they already knew. And it was, there was no shortcut there. We had to demonstrate our approach towards the business, and we got lucky in certain areas where some markets we did very well for some of the power users. They started spreading the message, and we started getting high number of references. On the other side, we also had insurance carriers, and they were these large companies with whom we had to integrate, and these companies would move slow, and we had to really solve for that, because the insurance companies have legacy systems, and we need to do API integrations with them. And that was one of the big surprises that we had, because when we started off, we had not really at all envisaged that this could be such a big problem, the slow moving insurance companies. As we started working very closely with them, we saw that some of the companies were better in their tech stack, and we were able to work better with them. So we prioritized some of the insurance companies. We did not on day one say that we would want all of them and we will integrate fully and only then we would launch. We created some sort of a minimum viable solution on the insurance company side, and then we launched for our agent distributors. So in conclusion, what I would say is that we need to first get a set of power users or influencers who become your brand ambassadors and start spreading the word about your product. In order to establish that trust, having some of the large brands as a part of your offering also helps in addressing that.
Great, because you were trying to change the behavior across such a diverse cross-section of agents, right? Which were varied in languages, education, skills, their experience in the insurance industry. Some would be freshers, some would have worked for decades. Did it have any implication on how you went about designing the product for this community?
Our approach, like I was saying earlier, when we started off, we had created a transaction platform. The transaction platform reflected a consumer platform, and we focused on building that. But as we started getting these users, and we had sort of we were very close to some of the early users, and we would get real-time feedback in terms of what they were thinking about the product while they were using. But there were some areas where they were not very happy about, and they wanted us to improve. So the platform was very iterative in the sense that we were incrementally solving for some of the use cases as we received feedback from our users. The platform transformed completely. Our product moved from being a transaction platform to today what I call a knowledge platform. The users were like, while we thought that transaction is what we need to enable, as we expanded the user base, we realized that there are different users with different needs. For a fresher, we are helping him gain knowledge, and hence the platform has to provide for that kind of knowledge. That's also, we have a product called Turtlemint Academy, where we have created state-of-the-art training, I would say the best in the insurance industry, where we have created video plus animation-based training programs for anybody who is a fresher, and he can go through that training program, learn and understand insurance, and start actively selling insurance, even if you have zero background in the insurance industry. In a way, I think solving for platform based on the feedback that you get on a regular basis is what helped. Also, we need to be very clear about what you prioritize, because like I was saying that we had a transaction platform and that enabled some consumers to also buy a policy on the platform. There was a point in time when we realized that there were two different problems that we were solving for. And these were conflicting problems. So we had to really align the entire organization towards the problem and not vertically. After that is what I would say the platform took off. Then it became a no-brainer in terms of what we wanted to solve in the product. And that's how we started seeing the platform scale up very, very rapidly, which is what has happened in the last 3.5 years.
Thanks for watching, all of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe this channel for such content and founder insights. And do let us know what you think of this video in the comments below.